What's up, everyone? This is your boy Julian, and I'm here with one of my favorite people, Esco. Esco, how are you doing today, fam?
I'm doing good, bro. Thanks for the opportunity. Been around each other for a really long time. I mean, like years in crypto Twitter. So it's such a pleasure that you reached out to have this, kind of get together. I wouldn't even consider it an interview or anything. We're just kicking it with the boys. I'm in my living room, you're in your living room, and let's get to whatever you want to do, man.
Absolutely, bro. And that's what this is all about. It's literally just conversations. I mean, we're blessed to be interesting people, have an interesting network. So we can bring on guests that are like doing these amazing things, but it's like we're just talking to our friends. So I'm excited to have you here. And for everyone who just, doesn't really know much about you, hasn't had the experience of running into you in real life or on Twitter or just in crypto, just give a little background of yourself just so people can catch up.
Sure. Well, my name is, I came into the internet with my actual name. My name is Joseph Escobar. I live in the West Coast of the US, originally from Panama. I recently had a daughter. She's 1.5 years old. So she's like keeping me on my toes right now. I am a Web3, crypto enthusiast. I see a lot of potential in this new emerging industry. I see so many facets that people can fit in and provide products and services, from content creating like you're doing right now to actually developing protocols and whatnot. I'm also a founder of a company in the real world, so I have business experience. I've started that company at the very bottom with like $12,000, and it's a 10-year-old company now. I think that most people make it 10 months. Business is difficult, and you got to really apply yourself. Everything is possible. Everybody's capable. It just depends how much energy you put into it, how dedicated you are, if it's your passion, so it's not considered work. And that's what we're doing here in Web3 as well. I founded this company called Better Web3, which is about adoption, retention, and loss prevention. I know that's kind of broad, but those are the three main components that I think will make a company sustainable in this attention economy. And I'm excited to, push in this space, product market fit, to solve problems, and in cases also meet wants. It's not all about needs. Sometimes there's also a facet for wants. So just super stoked to it. And thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for being here. And you mentioned your company, Better Web3, and just kind of like how even we met in the crypto world. So let's kind of like start there. So like what originally got you into crypto, and let's kind of dive into what Better Web3 is.
Absolutely. I mean, what got me into crypto? I think that I was I wouldn't say victim, but a victim of COVID. Victim of being inside. COVID obviously affected us globally, and with COVID came a lot of being in social media and looking at your phone a lot. And I think that Robinhood really tapped into that. And that was my very first start. I downloaded Robinhood, started messing around with like trading stuff, and went into the rabbit hole of Dogecoin and that whole thing, right? So then randomly I watched a YouTube video for a crypto influencer at that time. He was a Cardano influencer. I won't mention his name because he's not around, and I think he has like receded into his privacy. This space can be really aggressive at times.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And so I saw one of his videos, and I went and minted my very first NFT using Yoroi. Shout out to Yoroi. They're making a comeback. They've restructured the whole platform. It's awesome. Their whole wallet, is awesome. So I minted my first NFT, went into my first community on Discord. I was a Discord rat for a while. Shout outs to Cardano Crocs Club. Now is Crypto Crocs Club. And I feel like I was spoiled. That was my very first experience. 2.5 years later, they're still around. They're building. They're going cross chain and all this other stuff. So I came into a great community, met a lot of people, a lot of friends that to this day I'm friends with. And because I came into a good project, that it wasn't like a rug pull, there then I had, I got this like good experience, right? And ultimately because of it, it retained me. And then, went to crypto Twitter. And then that blew my mind because in Twitter, you're getting information, as
Immediately.
it's happening, you know what I mean? So then, you become associated with like you create groups and friends and the cabals or the alliances, whatever you want to call it. And then it's really difficult to leave because you make all these friendships, you know what I mean? That are just as real as your friends in the real world. So that's how I came into the space. And then naturally, I think that I'm like entrepreneur type I have entrepreneur inclinations. Like I mentioned, I own a business in the real world that I've dedicated 10 years to. I've won multiple awards in that industry. So, I identified some of the same common denominators in this industry, which is low barrier of entry, new emerging industry, and there's a lot of needs and wants to be met. So I started working on a product that a lot of people know me for. It's called Ruggable, which is a secondary value proposition to otherwise undesirable digital assets. And then
Still have my token.
yeah, exactly. And it's coming, bro. Like I appreciate everybody that supported me this far. And I've actually like, then I realized that there were many other things that I could also bring to the space. So I restructured the company from that single product to what we now know as Better Web3, as an adoption, retention, and loss prevention company. I'm self-funded. As an entrepreneur, when you're not financially able to fund your own venture, you reach for funding and so on. You raise funds. My original venture was invested in, and that's what now has created a little bit of a financial position for me to fund myself in Web3. So instead of doing a mint or a token or something and then have the social pressures or the holder pressures, how that gets, price go up, otherwise you're the enemy. I've been self-funding it, I've been self-funding it because I don't want to squander the opportunity that we have at hand. So now we have Better Web3. Have spent 2 years, conceptualizing, developing, and hopefully soon, implementing the very first, alpha or MVP sort of thing. And, bringing all the partners that I've met over time and I've made, and really trying to provide some value for the space for, the niches that I've identified. So, yeah.
Awesome. That makes perfect sense for you because even since we've met originally, you've always been like a champion of the people, even when like you're calling out things and people aren't happy you're calling out things. You're always been someone to say like, hey, just using my experience, not saying that it won't work, but these are some red flags that I'm seeing just to, protect people. And, some projects have done well, even though there were some red flags, and some, were exactly what you said. And so I remember with Ruggable, also shout out to Sergeant. I remember you two were doing that together. Man, I'm trying to think of, I think it was like my crypto rhino I threw in there. And I was like, oh, I got a diamond.
We have it. It's still in that. It's still in that wallet for sure. Sergeant Crypto. Shout outs to him. We happen to be in the same state in the U.S. What were the odds, right? He's actually coming to the city that I live, and we've hung out in the real world. And then when I went to NFT XLV in Vegas, we hung out again. So we were working originally on a company, Ruggable, right? And we used to do the Friday follow-up together, which was an every Friday Twitter space where we followed up with companies that had already launched projects. I keep saying companies because I see everything as like actual business. But
they are businesses though.
Exactly. Sometimes the semantics of like calling it a project, it's like flexible liability as like a company. But yeah, so we used to do Friday follow-up every Friday, following up on projects that had already like launched and where they were at and their deliverables and stuff like that. So big love to him. He's a fucking amazing person. I've met, his family and everything. So, those are the realities of Web3. There are real people behind it, even though most of the time we have like a monkey PFP or an alligator or something. It's real people. And
whatever the mint is.
Whatever the current pump mint is. you know. But as you mentioned, yeah, like um I've always offered my unapologetical apologetically myself my opinion. You know what I mean? Like I in order and also in order for you to be able to feel confident in your opinion, you have to respect other people's opinions, which in this
Absolutely.
space, when there is a financial component on it, you know, it tends to create friction, because if it is no pro whatever the current thing is, then you could be flooding their bags. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, like all that I ever intended was to just use some of my background and business experience and be like, hey, you know, like this company's not even registered. You don't even know who you're sending your money to, you know, those type of things. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think that we've done very well. I think single-handedly, and this is not even like crazy boasting or anything. I think that I've saved the Cardano ecosystem easily 10 million plus ADA by just like diving deep and doing research and looking on the chain.
Mhm.
Before there were chain analytic protocols, I was learning and made myself very familiar with like chain analytics. They call it sleuthing the chain. Um, so you know, like we did very well at like, you know, preventing some faults. And I also, you know, there's times where speculation is a very strong marketing tool for some companies. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They want you to speculate. They want you to you know, be captivated by not knowing who you're buying it from, but they don't intend maliciously, right? So there's times where the ingredients in the sauce, you know, pointed to a questionable red flag, but in reality there weren't. So it's definitely, for me, it has been a hit or miss, just like anything else. But the intentions have always been pure to empower the ecosystem and make sure that we all, you know, put our money in safe places. Ain't nobody issuing refunds in decentralization, right? So
Nah.
you have, you have to be really cautious of the things that you do, and when you miss, be the first to admit it. Like, man, you know,
Mhm.
I had you wrong. I mean, I don't think I could have made a better assessment, considering that you wanted me to speculate and wanted me in the dark like that. But
Mhm.
nonetheless, you know, a project that did that very well, and let's highlight him because he's an amazing person that I've also got to meet in real life, is D. Mosteen from the Mallard Order.
Mallards.
You know what I'm saying? They came out with
Mhm.
like the invitation letter and all this other stuff, and nobody knew who was who, what, when, and where. And I was like, I don't know, man. He wants me to join a cult or whatever. Like, I ain't doing all that. Sounding a little sus. And then later on, I end up spending time with him in real life in NXTF XLV, and you know, have a good friendship in Web3. So you know, the space is very dynamic, and just doing our best to adapt to it.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and I love how you kind of mentioned, and I want to go this direction for a sec. You know, being able to meet people in real life and really build those relationships. I remember, I met Sarge at before it was NFT Las Vegas. It was CNFT Con the first year, and I remember going there and meeting, all the people that we were on, Twitter spaces with, every night for hours on hours on hours in real life, and being like, oh my God, these are my buddies that, I never met you, but I'm closer to you sometimes than, friends in real life. Cause we literally are spending more time together than, a lot of the people in real life, because we share this passion and other people don't necessarily see it. Um, However, also I feel like the vibe of like Twitter Spaces has changed over the past couple of years. Like when we got in and started doing it, it was like what 2020, 22. No, it was 2021. I think it was like 2021, 2022. And it just used to be, a couple of guys where we would come, we'll sit, we'll talk, shop. You, me, Dizzle, Mixed Greens, Eden.
Shout out to Make Screens, man. I haven't seen him in a minute, but he's
Yo, I would love to know where Mixed Greens is. He like disappeared. But Gully, L would come in from time to time before he was L. Now it's impossible to get L on
oh,
the
you
line.
can get him here, man. We can get him on the line. El is amazing. I just spent some time with him in France and Amsterdam, like
Mhm.
2 weeks ago. We'll talk about that in a bit, but yeah, man.
Yeah. But but just over these past couple years, from just, what have been the changes just that you've seen in like crypto Twitter, the overall ecosystem? I know we're primarily Cardano, but this can go through, all of blockchain in your experience. How have you seen things progress? Is it good? Is it bad? Like what's been your takeaway over these last couple of years?
Um, I mean, there's always good and bad. I think
Hmm.
that's just part of life. Especially when you become friends and you hang out with each other every day. Like I used to fight with my little brothers, right? They're not
Yeah.
around me anymore. They're in Panama, but I fought with my cousins and everything. Whoever you spend a lot of time with, you're bound to have amazing elated times, and then you're also going to have a bit of friction. That's just human tendency. But when it comes to the overall nature of the space, I think that the space swings with the current market sentiment, because there's a giant component to it that people are all focused on, are all driven by, but yet it's kind of like hidden behind the narratives, which is financial gain. You
Yeah.
know, in any ecosystem or any environment in which financial gain, self-serving financial gain, or
Hmm.
or, or the pursuit of financial gain, then obviously that's going to change the dynamic amongst people. If you have an
100%.
if you have an opinion that goes against my bag or my potential to financially gain from the space, then I'm not going to be too stoked with you. That's just the nature of it, because I'm protecting my bag. You're fighting my bags, bro. But um we wrote it from, when the Bored Apes were like, I don't know, 100 and something thousand dollars or some millions of dollars. I don't even know. I've never owned one. I wish I could have one. Whoever wants to give me one, thank you. I
Please
appreciate
give me one too.
it.
I'm
Make it two. Um, but like from when the NFTs were the hype of the last cycle, we rode it all the way down to the bear market. In the bear market, we lost probably more than 50% of the people we used to hang out with. The return on investment, aka your time, was no longer there. So a lot of people just were like, "Hey, I'll be back when there's more money." There's other people who really found it to be passionate about it, and through the bear market build themselves, to be significant components of the ecosystem. Like L has become somebody that everybody knows in Cardano. He's a great dude, hilarious, very transparent. He's a one of a kind, and I met him in real life several times now, in Vegas, Paris, Dubai. I talk to him often. He's an all-around great guy. But the dynamic of the space just shifts. It's very um I don't even know what to call it, man. Like one day you could be, their savior, and the person who is revered highly, and then
giving all the alpha and everything.
yeah, and then the next week you're like the enemy because of some microcosm conflict that you had with some person, and then everybody hops on the boat. You know what it is, the dynamics of social environments. So,
Hmm.
but I think that like the biggest component um that I see as a true driver of the sentiment in the space is financially. When Bitcoin was at $17,000, everybody was down bad, thinking we were going to zero. And there was like, I was hosting spaces. I hosted spaces every single day for 2 years, pretty much. Um,
Hmm.
and during those times, we only had, our 30 people in there, the diehards, where we all over leveraged, maybe, and that's why we were all holding on to our bags. But I think some of us also, found passion in it, and they're like, no, there's got to be something to this, right? And we stuck to it, and now we host spaces with, you know, 10 times more of that, and sometimes amazing spaces that becomes cross chain, and it's not just about Cardano and this and that. But financially, is I think the financial gain is the driver, and wherever the money is at is where people go. So um, if that's what you want to do, that's definitely a facet of it. Be a trader, NFT minter, flipper. Those people they have very strong conviction sometimes, and just know how to read the social engagement to be able to be in and out, and financially prosper. And there's other people who are building companies protocols, products and services. There's other people that are just content creating and getting paid for that. I just had an experience with that. I hung out with a bunch of content creators over the last 2 weeks abroad. And I realized that, there's companies that are creating all these things but lack means of communicating what they're doing. So yeah, man, there's room for everybody. And ultimately just make sure that you don't make it personal, because at the end of the day, like, everybody's trying to find their way. If you're going to scrutinize products and companies or whatnot, scrutinize them for their potential to succeed, if they have the ingredients to succeed, and what might look like it's not going to succeed, but just keep it on that level rather than like going all the way personal, and keep it 100 for sure.
100%. And it's so funny because over the last couple of years, like the narrative going to like the financial incentives, as the liquidity was leaving like the markets, the narrative absolutely changed. It used to be that, we're all about, technology and community and all of that stuff. And as soon as the number wasn't going up anymore, like everyone's energy changed. But I was actually believing in, like, I was such a believer in, like, oh, we're all community, da 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 da, like really building around it, and then realizing that, like, no, you're right. It's financial incentives right now are really the drivers. But I think just kind of like to build on what you're saying though, Esco, and like I said, this is an interview, but this is really a conversation. So we're just kind of going back and forth. I think also that's an indicator of really how early we are. I really think that we forget that, like Bitcoin's not even adopted yet globally. You know what I mean? And we're talking about like programmable smart contracts, NFTs, depends and things like that. And so when it comes to like really having ingrained community, really understanding what utilities are that are going to build and benefit people, we're still kind of learning those in real time, because like even the masses haven't even arrived yet. You know what I'm saying? And kind of going off of, you mentioned L earlier and what L has, evolved into and within the community. I remember, one of, I'll never forget this day. I remember being in a space with L, and L was like, he was super down. He kind of posted on it today. And like, he was like, I don't know if I can even do this. And I was like, nah, L, you just gotta keep going. You gotta keep going. But he's one of those special people who've really kind of like stuck it out and kind of, pushed through. And so when it comes to outside of L, when it comes to different NFT projects, token projects that have, maybe none of those founders, creatives, content creators, who have been some of the people, not even just in Cardano, but just like, even just Web3 overall, that have really like stuck out to you? Because I know, like, to kind of pass the Esco, mark,
The Esco.
saying something.
Yeah. Actually, as the space has matured, I think that we're seeing a lot more of those. Honestly, I mean, if you recall back, I mean, we were minting a new project every day, and none of us had the initiative or foresight to be like, hey, this can't be sustainable. This literally can't. It doesn't make sense. But we were caught up in the moment, being like, next mint, the next flip, and we all came into that. At least I'll speak for myself. I came into that originally as a trader and to seek opportunity, financial gain and everything. And after 6 months of being around that, and I'm like, okay, I remember I minted 138 Mars burrs or whatever for like 8 ADA, and flipped them for a bunch later, and that was like a high volume play. That was my very first like high volume play. And after that, I was like, I kind of had seen it from just buying one NFT, flipping and making money, to then buying. And then after that, I was like, that's when I started being like, dude, I think that I can do more. I think that this space, there's something to it. And that's when I started going towards first conceptualizing if Ruggable was going to be like a sustainable product. And I'm glad that I stuck, continuing to evolve that idea over time, and never did a mint or anything like that. Just issued those tokens for like 5 ADA or something. And it was part of a test, to test out the very first API, blockchain based API, to distribute, like a faucet API to distribute the tokens. And it was my very first experience, doing anything in the space, which again, self-funded the development and all that type of stuff. So, when I went into the lane of like, trying to be a founder at that time, then my whole perspective changed, and I started looking at things for, is this going to be sustainable? Is this actually, what is the value proposition of this company? What is it? What's the problem that it solves? Is it meeting a need or a want, or what is it, right? And I think that we were still at the infancy of like, PFPs and building communities and that type of stuff. The same 2,000 people building 500 communities also didn't make sense, but we were behind it because it was supporting the current thing. But now, after the bear market and the steep decline, and the people that were just about easy money gone because no longer the return is there, and all the people that stuck around in the companies that kept building, I've definitely have had the pleasure. First of all, like, shout outs to Iagon. Iagon is a decentralized storage and compute, with nodes sharded, encrypted, kind of like a Dropbox type of service, but using Cardano as its access layer, and then pretty much running its own network of node operators, which provide storage, and here shortly compute as well, which is going to be cool. You'll be able to like host and run whole websites and stuff, from storing to actually the compute component. And I work for them. So I work for them as a consultant. Imagine that. So, for sticking around, really understanding the community, really understanding realistically what it was about, how to communicate with the people that you understand what they care about. The opportunity came to work for Iagon. I've been working for them for 7 months. Check them out. It's seriously, they're making some strides in decentralized data storage and so on. And that's a company that is actually solving a problem, right? There's other companies that I would highlight as well. I don't work for them, or I have no interest. I don't get paid or anything like that. But there's a company called Cerberus, which is on-chain data analytics, that ultimately
aware of them.
Yeah, that they analyze the chain to give a risk assessment on the network of a token. You know what I mean? So, for example, how safe of a bet, or how safe is a token to hold or invest into, sort of thing. So now we're seeing the evolution of these companies to, products and services that improve the experience of newcomers and already existing users alike. So instead of just having to go do all this research, which is still encouraged, do your own research. You can please. You can go to to this protocol that will give you a risk assessment on a token, right? So those type of things didn't exist 2 years ago when we were in, and we were just blindly taking people's words for it and then getting wrecked. There's another company that I literally just had a meeting with earlier. It's very similar to that. It's called Crowd Trends. They're coming soon. It's the same thing. It's a crowd trend analysis. There's going to be is data analytics to providing assessment, risk assessment, or crowd trend data, so then people can move more safely in the space. So these are the kind of companies that now I'm really stoked on, that are actually solving problems. And that's not just limited to them. There's more, but otherwise I'll be here all day telling you about top 10 companies and all that. So.
Cool. Well, before we go on, because I know like the NFT community was such a big topic of conversations. Any NFT? I know you NFTs that you stick out to you. I know you mentioned Mallard, and Ape Society for a sec. Any other like under the radar people that you like?
To be honest, like, shout outs to the Ape Society.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very strong community. They were a big part of empowering me. Their whole community supported me a lot while I was hosting spaces and building a little bit of a presence for myself in the space. The founders are amazing, hardworking team. They are the developers of Levy, which is like one of the top volume platforms for lending and borrowing in the Cardano ecosystem based on NFTs. So you ultimately collateralize NFTs and tokens for ADA lending value. And that platform is immense. So the Ape Society is one of those projects that has the right ingredients to continue to develop great product market fit. The Mallet Order, Demos is an amazing guy, super kind. Nemesis, one of the strong Cardano girls in the space. She's a core part also, does front end work and she's an artist, and she was DJing at one of the Future Fests, and just multifaceted Cardano girl there. They developed a product called Raiders Guild, which is ultimately a social engagement sort of boost platform that the holders, they create raids, right? So let's just say I pay for their service, and I post a tweet there to be rated by their community, and they reshare it to create more awareness for it on a decentralized manner, and then they incentivize their community in the way that they do. Cardano Crocs Club, now rebranded to Crypto Crocs Club. They are putting out a series of products. One of them that I'll highlight, which is an amazing tool, an amazing platform, is EUX.finance, which is a swap type exchange. So ultimately you can swap any, it seems like an unlimited amount of from any network to any network tokens, right? So I can grab my ADA and trade it for, like, I don't know, dog with hat or something in Solana or something. and it works in a way that you don't actually have to connect your wallet. It is a send to address, verify, and then add the receiving address where you want the return to. So it mitigates the risk of connecting to a website and all that. I think is marvelous because it also brings different chains together in a way that UTXO based tokens, Cardano native tokens, can be swapped without connecting to an EVM network. It is just handled in their back end, and you submit to you submit to an intake, and then you give them the output address, even if it's in another network, right? And that was brilliant. That's another great product by Crypto Crocs Club. What else, man? There's many. I'm just gonna stand on those three because there's people that I've actually met. Crypto Crocs Club. Shout outs to Asong, one of my longest time friends in the space before crypto Twitter, when we were just Discord rats, raiding and grinding out whitelist and stuff. I met him in real life in Vegas. Definitely shed some tears. That's how awesome our friendship, dates back and everything. So yeah, those are people that I've actually met, and I think that I have made, products that have had a significant impact in the space that are like NFT based, as you were asking.
Absolutely. And you talked about like an event. You seem like you're going on like a crypto world tour right now. Like every other day you're in like another country, and you're like, oh, I was over at this country, I'm over. So what's going on with that? Did you just decide like I'm gonna go to like every crypto event over like the next 5 months? Like, what's the purpose? What are you learning? What's the experience?
Dude, sincerely, I really wish that it was that I had the freedom to go to all of these crypto events worldwide, because I recently went on a 14-day sort of convention tour from Europe to the Middle East, you know. And that was gracefully, I got to give a giant shout out to Rare Network. Rare Network is the company that puts on Rare Evo. The convention is coming up in August, middle August, at the Caesar's Palace in Vegas. If you didn't know, you mentioned earlier that you went to CNFT Con. I had my daughter like 9 days after, so I couldn't because I couldn't risk, you know, not being present for my own daughter's birth. So I missed CNFT Con, and then next year, which was last year, I went to NFT XLV, which was a rebrand of CNFT Con, and then this year, NFT XLV, old CNFT Con, actually merged with Rare Network to be under the same umbrella as Rare Evo. They're getting support from the founding entities of the space. You know, that's as much as I'll say regarding that. But now, instead of having two conventions, because Rare Network was in Colorado, in Denver, I believe. Oh no, it was at the Gaylord in Denver. And then
that sounds right.
Yeah, and then NFTX XLV was in Vegas. So, you know, people were pulled kind of in two different directions and had to pick and choose which one they went to. So I think that this is actually a hugely positive thing for their coming convention, unifying both crowds, and people don't have to just choose two different things. Now they can just consolidate under one and have a better turnout, right? So I'm mentioning all of that because I hope that people go to these events. Recently, I was selected by Rare Network, the company, to join them on a sort of convention tour. We went to Paris Blockchain Week. We were there for 5 days filming content. Big love to Catalyst, who funded that. They submitted a Catalyst proposal, and they were actually funded to go to Paris Blockchain Week, to go to Token 2049, to go to, you know, Spain, Barcelona. I think that's where they were just at, I think last week. And I was chosen to join them, bro. So after, you know, 2.5 years of being in the space, you know, putting the time in, it didn't matter if it was my birthday, Christmas, whatever it was. I hosted spaces for the Cardano community. And I was selected to go with them. And at first I was like, you got to be playing with me, you know? And they're like, no, man, it'll be on this day, and this is the day, but, you know, see if you can go. So also big love to my girl and my daughter for making the sacrifice of having me absent for 2 weeks while I went to Paris. You know, that's where I met up with Wurs, you know, Wurs as well, Elle, you know, Lily, Cardano girl, Lily. I always got to say Cardano girl, you know. And
she started a movement.
Dude, yeah, she's wrecking it. Shout out to you. Panama. You know, La Petite, and, you know, Big Pay, you know, with Atrium. Dude, I met so many people in Paris, went to Paris Blockchain Week. That's where my mind started expanding about the reality of Web3. Because until Las Vegas last year, it was all just crypto Twitter, and it was the same people that I used to hang out around all the time, right? So you tend to be like in your own little echo chamber. Sincerely, I can say that now, that I see it, and it's nothing personal. We all hang out with ourselves all the time, and we're in our own little echo chamber, you know, trying to be who's the coolest and who's not. Let's just keep it 1,000. So when I went to Paris and I met all these people and started seeing, you know, conventions where people are just focused on building products and services, for the most part, the underlying blockchain that they're on comes in as a secondary part of the conversation. They're just trying to create products and services, you know, to meet needs and wants. And that's what started shifting my perception of Web3. It's about Web3. It's not about, you know, this Cardano thing or the Solana thing or the Ethereum thing. Is about building solutions that actually make an impact that people will adopt. And then the underlying technology, you choose it because it is the one best fit for the product and service that you're building, right? So then from there we went to Amsterdam, and we made a stop at the I walked right by the original Heineken factory, the very first. We went to we went to cafes. You know what cafes are. And experience that whole thing. Yeah, it was just an incredible experience there. And then I think my life really got rocked when we went to Dubai after that. I had the pleasure of going on the second leg of that trip with the core team. And we went to Dubai, where we went to Blockchain Life, which was an event convention. It was mainly about Bitcoin mining and just like infrastructure builds. People, they were like offering to build you a 45 megawatt substation to power your Bitcoin mining shit. I was like, God damn, man, they're on some other level. And then from there, we also went to Token 2049, where I saw a whole nother facet of companies, and met with some people that I met on the internet that we've shared so much time on the internet. And when I was in Dubai, I was like, are you here? I'm like, dude, I don't even have data on my phone. Down thumbs to AT&T for letting me down while I was abroad with no phone, but we managed. And I was like, dude, I'm gonna get on a cab. I'm gonna come. When I get there, I'm gonna try to get Wi-Fi from the convention or something, and I'm gonna find you. So I was able to. I went on an adventure, met up with Dave from Discover Cardano, and I spent all from lunch to I think 2:00 in the morning or something when he dropped me off at the hotel, hanging out with him and his friends. We went to a social event, where I met a whole bunch of other people. Especially some people that are holding a convention in the Philippines. So making like worldwide friends, and every conversation leads to exchanging of contact information, and sharing what it is that you're doing and your focus and all of that. And I really thrive in that space. I really lean towards entrepreneurship and business building. Like I find it easy for me. Yeah, it is. It is like some people are really interested in like the social component of it, or the trading component of it, doing charts and all type of stuff. For me, it's really building a business, and I was able to make so many connections in facets of the space that I didn't even know that I cared for. You know what I mean? Like met influencers, content creators, went to karate combat. BitBoy fought in like the Mexico one, like I don't know, a month and a half ago or something. And I was at the Dubai one next to George St. Pierre, Tyron Woodley from the UFC. And like, I'm like literally like, what's going on?
What's life right now?
I'm dead serious, bro. Like, it was just shocking. I was at all times shocked. I skipped a very significant part, but I'll just rewind. When we were in Paris, we went to the Louvre. And we had a private tour, hanging out with Mona Lisa. We had dinner at the Louvre underneath that glass pyramid that is like you see in movies and stuff. Shared a 30-minute conversation with the founder of VeChain, Sunny Liu. Like things that were just out of the realm of possibilities if it wasn't for Catalyst funding and Rare Network and that team. I mean, these guys planned masterfully this trip, that every minute there was content being created for their original purpose, and the experience was just so mind-blowing to each individual that took part in it, that it changed my life. I can tell you that from the bottom of my heart. It changed my life. It changed the way that I view the space. It changed my pursuit in the space. I don't see no borders. I don't, I want to make sure that everything that I do creates a two-way flow from people from all ecosystems. It doesn't matter, like the way that I now view structuring the company and the products that we conceptualize, build, and implement. It's just, it has to have everybody included. Everybody is a possible demographic that we want to serve, not just the echo chamber that I used to hang out with. So Dubai got wrapped up with a desert safari where we went and rode quads in the sand dunes of the damn Dubai desert, my guy. Then some of us rode camels. I wasn't into the camel idea. I ain't even want a cat. But some people rode camels. And then to wrap it up, shout outs to our guide, man. We got into I think 2 or 3 SUVs, 2 SUVs, like because it was a group of us. It was like, I don't know, 10, 11 of us. And there was two different SUVs. And this is what blew my mind. These MFers were driving the SUVs in the sand dunes like it was a damn roller coaster, dude. Like going on the banks of the sand splashing everywhere. You feel like you're about to roll this. It was nuts. Then we took pictures with falcons. We took, dude. It was just like, okay.
It was a movie. It was a movie.
It really was. It really, really was. And I'm not trying to brag. I'm just literally, this is real life what happened. And then, we wrapped it up with karate combat. And I got in a flight back to reality. And I'm just so elated and recharged, just pumped to continue to build in a space. And I really hope that other people get to experience what I experienced, whether it is the companies that they work for, like fund them to go to these events, because it really enriches your teammate that then comes back and brings a global perspective to the company that they work for. You know what I mean? Like it changed everything.
Exposure.
Dude, it was insane, incredible. I'll share some pictures with you for like the cut and edited version of this that you can just add pictures to, like, back up what we're talking about. A lot of people are talking all this funny stuff on the internet and they don't back it up. But, shout outs to Rare Network again, and their whole team, Wes, Evan, and Rand. I mean, and the camera crew that they hired to like follow us around. It was also a camera crew following us around, bro. like people were looking at us like, oh, crazy. Shout outs to Let's Talk Words. Go check him out. Shout out Elliot. Hopefully you can have him, come in and do an interview with you as well. He would be so fun to be doing this as well. I'm sure. I'll hit him.
Elliot? Yeah, I'll make a note of that.
Yeah, Elliot. L. That's his name.
Oh,
yeah. I call him Elliot now because I hung out with him in real life. But now we're like an actual friend.
That would be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, brother. So got to travel, and now I want to make sure that, along with my pursuit, that I keep broadening my horizons. Like I want to go to Consensus in Texas, but I'm not going to be able to go. My birthday's May 26th. I have to go to Vegas coming up as well. And I have a family and I have a business. I run a business, and I can't be like just flying around like a butterfly, which I really wish I could. But yeah, it was a privilege, not a right. And I'm extremely grateful for it. And I'm going to make sure that moving forwards, through my company or, whatever means that this experience can be shared.
Awesome. And bro, let me just say this. I want to take the time before kind of like moving on. Like, you deserve it. Like, I really want you to like know that, feel that, internalize that. Like, man, I haven't seen as many people in this space. And obviously we're in our own echo chamber, of course. But I've literally seen you like get up every day and put in the work. And so I just want to, before we kind of just skate past this, I want you to know that everything that happened, you deserved and you earned.
I appreciate that. I really, really do. There's been moments where, I mean, like, I've been hosting spaces and doing this out of passion and out of wanting to hang out with the people that I enjoy their presence so much, and all of that. And there has been some discouraging moments. For example, when you have like, whether it was justified or not, it doesn't matter, because I think that we can all do better at avoiding negative friction type. Yeah, you know what I mean. And there's been moments where it has been discouraging and so on, but I appreciate that so much, because that validated and materialized a lot of the effort that we put in, not wanting anything. We didn't do it because we wanted something in return. It just happened, and that validated it to my family that there is something to this, and so on. So I thank you so much for that, and everybody that does it. If positive things happen for you, you deserve it as well, and you deserve more than that. It's not easy, sincerely. Like, it comes with some burdens. It comes with psychological burdens, and so on. But we as long as you do it and you enjoy it, then you won't feel like it's work. So hopefully now, that we've caught a little bit of traction, and I'm building a business and stuff, that I hope that it also materializes in that aspect, and I can share this experience moving forwards with some potential employees, or whatever. So I really, really appreciate it, and hopefully we can propagate the same gratification to those who come after us or along with us, and so on.
Absolutely. It's kind of like Charles said, you always want to, plant seeds for trees that you won't get to enjoy the shade. And, I think that that's the goal, even with myself here, with what I'm building here, is to be able to, like, my goal and my dream is I want to build a platform where, through media and building the economy, to just give people a chance. Like, the world's getting tougher. You know, part of what brings us into crypto is that, we see what's going on in the traditional finance world, and we're like, this is, BS. And, it shouldn't be this difficult to live your life based around your passions. And that's literally what's happening, is like you're forced to make these decisions around, like, do I want to actually pursue, because not everyone's built to go through the years and years and years of pain like us with no results, and then years later then something kind of like blows up. Not everyone's in those circumstances are just built like that. And so shout out to you, bro, for literally blazing the trail for others. That's what I'm going to keep doing. And I think it's just part of being a hustler too. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Like, I mean, if you were told that certain doors were going to open for you if you did something for long enough, then that wouldn't be half the fun. Then everybody would do it. That's the thing, Julian. That's literally the thing. If you were told this is going to be the reward, then everybody would do it. There's such high level of satisfaction of when you just do things because you enjoy them, and then positive things start happening. I think also that's just the way that the planet works. I don't want to get into all of that superstitious stuff or anything like that, but I think that this planet that we live in is very karmatic. Everything that you do, whether it's positive or negative, this place finds a balance for it. Whether it's today, tomorrow, or whenever it is, it always comes in full circle. Some people can call it whatever they want. I just think that is the natural consensus that I have with this place. And when I make mistakes and so on, or maybe I did something, but that maybe at the time I didn't see as like intentional or not, you know what I mean? Like, it always makes fair with me, the same way as like when I do great things for others and I don't want anything in return. You know what I mean? I just do it because I want to do it. I enjoy doing it, or I just want to help somebody or something, which I do often. Then it comes back at me as well. So I agree with you 100% that we put in all this time and effort into it, not wanting anything, and when it was reciprocated back, by like natural selection, if you will, then it felt really good. And I really encourage other people to do the same.
Okay, awesome. And so I don't want to go. I think I'm gonna have to have you back, I think, another time.
Yes.
Because man, we didn't even get to go too much into your business beyond. We haven't even got to touch, Esco beyond Web3, and we're already, close to an hour. So I want to kind of like just touch on it briefly, but I know I'm gonna have to, knowing about what you do, bring you back and have a whole nother conversation just on entrepreneurship and your business. And but first for everyone who doesn't know, fill them in on, your business outside of Web3.
Right. So so we're like lead to episode 2 coming soon. Um,
Yes.
so I am the founder and owner of a cannabis company, a
Mhm.
processing facility in the west coast of the U.S. It is legal, licensed. We have bank accounts and everything, so nothing, illegal is going on. And it was a very long process. I started it in 2014 in the medical days, and then I believe that it was made recreational in 2016, and then I started pursuing the licensing and all that type of stuff, and just went with the evolution of the industry. We've won 2 major competitions in the extracts facet of that industry. So the first time they can consider it luck. The second time you might have an idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's I will tell you guys the name on the next one. So if you come back and listen to the podcast again, we can go into the actual company and the accolades and the people that have made it happen and so on. But yeah, that's how I started believing in myself. That was my very first successful venture. That is how I pay my bills and how I support my family and so on. Um, and that's the one that has given me the self-belief that I can repeat and believe in my entrepreneurship sense to start Better Web3 and move with integrity, with intention, transparency, to build a successful company in the space as well. So in the next episode, since we're running close to timing out, in the next episode we can go all in about the cannabis industry, how from seed to sale, and the golden years, the commercialized more difficult years, what it is to produce product from raw material to packaged products in retail, displaying product, retaining customers, and all of those things that are precursors to going to be applied into this company as well, with the products and services that we're going to be implementing for Better Web3 as a company.
Awesome. And yeah, and I think even when we had that conversation, diving into what makes a successful entrepreneur, I think could be very valuable because, everybody, like, entrepreneurship is becoming one of those things where, it's becoming more and more popular. Like, you have these entrepreneurs who are becoming like the athletes or the celebrities or the musicians. So everyone's like, I want to be an entrepreneur. And not everyone knows what it takes to be successful in that.
Yeah.
And so I think that the more we can have conversations about that, the more, I mean, I'm always learning myself personally, but I think that there's so much value there. And even like diving into like the cannabis side of things, like even like I got started with like Cloud Finder originally got started as a platform from me being a weed influencer.
Let's go.
So like back when I was living in Cali, I worked for this guy Ty for a while, and I learned like social media marketing stuff from him, and mixed with this other influencer I met who taught me how to like growth hack Instagram accounts back in the day. I went to like a bro of mine, and I was like, bro, what are you like passionate about? And he like was in his chair and he spun around real slow. And he's like, I'm passionate about weed. And so that was a whole another journey in itself that, I would love to be able to talk about the cannabis industry because it's so interesting.
Yeah.
It's so much to it that people don't know because it's been demonized incorrectly. But before we have, you head out, I want to ask one more question, and then also tell people where they can find you after as well. But my last question for the day is, you just became a father recently.
Yeah.
And that's a whole new adventure in and of itself. What is, how has being a father changed you, changed your perspective? And, what's that journey like?
Man, changed my whole life. Before you have any kind of significant responsibility, one that like anchors you down. You know,
Hmm.
you just bounce around and do a lot of things without having to, you know, care for anything other than yourself. But along with that comes exactly just that. I think you emotionally change. You know, you care about your you kind of you grow out of the natural narcissism and the natural self-centeredness that comes with being a human and an individual. Whether you want to accept it or not, we all are always looking out for ourselves first. It's natural, uh, you know, tendencies. But then when you have a child, something that you love and adore and is a part of you, and then now you want to protect and everything, it just changes completely your brain chemistry, I think. So it's definitely changed my journey in life. I'm extremely grateful for it. I'm extremely grateful for my family, you know, my lady and everything at home, you know. And I recommend that part of life to everybody. Um, when you embark in that journey, obviously is to each individual, but I think that you know, procreating and sharing that like fatherhood or motherhood or you know, being selfless in some aspects, then I think is very wholesome for everybody to experience. um yeah, that's about that. And I'm excited to come back and you know, elaborate more on the topics that we didn't get into. An hour flew right by and we didn't even see it. But you know, if you want to learn more about or keep up with, you know, what I got going on right now, Twitter is the easiest way. My personal account is at Esco XBT, like it says on the dashboard here. And then the company is called Better Web3, and it's better underscore web3. I just wrote it like that to not be kind of cringe. And I'm the founder of that company, CEO. I'm also founder and CEO of the cannabis company in the real world. And I'm a consultant for Iagon, the company I mentioned earlier. So we're actually, you know, not sitting on the side of the bench. We're actually doing stuff. And I encourage everybody to believe in themselves and you know, explore a bit of their inner entrepreneur.
Absolutely. Well, Esco, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in. You know, I forget who you are sometimes, you know, because, you know, we're just bros. But man, it's just so good to see you. We haven't had a chance to just be in either in a space where we can just have free conversation or just be around each other so long. So just know you always got a friend in me. If you ever need anything, please let me know. There's so much love for you over here. And man, thank you for coming on and blessing us with your presence.
I appreciate it so much, bro. The feeling is mutual. It is awesome to just hang out and talk about whatever the conversation takes us. And it's even more awesome that we'll get to do it again, to be honest. And, you know, I'll make sure that I bring some products and stuff next time. Maybe show some stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I
Yeah,
appreciate you, brother. And until next time, for everybody that's listening, this is Julian Cloud Finder. Also, go find him on, you know, Instagram and Facebook. I'm sure he has a Twitter as well, and just follow up with him and the interesting interviews and so on that he's got going on. I appreciate you again, brother.
absolutely. And thank you. As I always forget to plug myself, I'm always plugging everyone else. Yes, please follow us, engage with us. We're rebuilding. We're starting to launch content again after some time. It's Clout Finder on everything except Instagram. It's underscore Clout Finder. These interviews are going live on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. We're going to be doing clips, you know, across everywhere soon. Got a team. So, yes, please stay up with us. There's a lot of big things coming. And thank you, Esco, for coming out. And we're going to wrap it up right here.
Thanks.
Peace, everyone.